She was about to bury her baby when she heard crying coming from the coffin. Her eyes widened in shock, unable to believe what she was hearing. Mara stands before the small coffin, holding a single red rose in her shaking hands. Her heart aches with a pain that seems unbearable, because inside her is her baby, her precious little angel who had left so soon. With a heavy sigh, she prepares to place the rose on the coffin, a final tribute to the son she would never see grow up. But just as she is about to do so, an unexpected sound echoes through the quiet air of the cemetery, a baby crying. Her eyes widened in shock, unable to believe what she was hearing. The crying continues, increasingly clear and insistent, as if begging for help. With shaking hands, she approached the coffin and hesitated for a moment before opening the lid. But before I tell you this story, just check if you are already subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will move you even more. Mara, a 28-year-old woman, is sitting on the sofa in the living room, anxiously awaiting the arrival of her son, Miguel. She runs her hand over her belly, feeling the small movements of the baby that is about to be born. The bedroom walls are decorated in soft tones, and the crib is ready, awaiting the arrival of the new family member. As she waits, Mara recalls the months of preparation for this special moment. From the moment she discovered she was pregnant, she took all the necessary exams, took care of her diet, attended medical appointments religiously, and even participated in birth preparation classes. Every beat of her baby's heart was a new wave of love and expectation that washed over her. Now, at the height of her weight, she feels a mix of emotions: joy, nervousness, anxiety, and overwhelming love. She can't wait to hold her son in her arms, to smell his newborn baby, to look into her eyes and tell him how much he is loved. At the end of the afternoon, Mara finally hears the sound of the doorbell. Alberto was her husband. The time necessary for Mara to give birth had not yet passed, but she was already feeling the contractions getting stronger and stronger, and so Alberto rushed from work to go to the hospital together. Everything was already ready. Her heart races and she stands up carefully, feeling the contractions become more frequent. With quick steps, she heads to the door and opens it with a radiant smile. Alberto, very anxious, holds a suitcase with a look of nervousness and excitement. Together, they look at each other for a moment, sharing the emotion of the moment that is about to happen. And then, with a nod and a smile, they leave for the hospital, ready to receive the greatest gift of their lives, their son Miguel. "Baby, I'm so excited. It feels like my heart is going to come out of my mouth at any moment." Me too, honey. I can't believe our baby is on the way. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. Remember when we found out we were expecting? It seems like yesterday, but so many things have happened since then. Yes, there were months of preparation, of expectation, of love growing every day. You were incredible at every moment, taking such good care of both of us. I just wish this moment would come soon. I feel like my heart will explode with so much emotion when I hold our son for the first time. And I can't wait to be by your side at this moment, to see our baby for the first time, to share all this love we have for him. We'd better get going soon. The contractions are more frequent. I think our little one is in a hurry to meet us. Come on, my love. We are ready to welcome Miguel, our greatest gift, with all the love in the world. Yes, we are ready. Let's go to the hospital, welcome our son with all the love we feel for him. The pain of the contractions hits Mara with full force. She lies in the hospital bed, holding her husband's hand as waves of pain course through her body. Each contraction feels more intense than the last, as if the universe is testing your resistance. Mara closes her eyes tightly, trying to focus on the breathing techniques she learned in childbirth classes. Her face is contorted, grimacing in pain, but there is also determination in her eyes. She knows that each contraction brings her a little closer to the moment when she can finally hold her son, Miguel, in her arms. Sweat drips down her forehead, and her breathing becomes more rapid as the contractions become more frequent. Alberto is by her side the entire time, offering words of encouragement and support. He holds her hand tightly, sharing her pain and anxiety. As the hours pass, the pain intensifies. Mara knows that she is reaching her limit, but she also knows that she is capable of overcoming any obstacle for her son, Miguel. She focuses on the image of the baby's face, on the promise of a future full of love and happiness. "Alberto, I don't know if I'll be able to withstand another contraction. It's a lot of pain. It feels like my body is being split in half. You are strong, my love. I'm here with you, says Alberto, holding your hand firmly. You're doing an incredible job. Every second seems like an eternity of so much pain. Alberto asks Mara to try to calm down. Remember the breathing techniques we learned together. You can do it, Mara. Our son is almost here. Miguel. Miguel, I'm doing this for you, my little warrior. And then, finally, after hours of intense labor, Mara feels overwhelming pressure and hears her baby crying. Tears of relief and joy flood her eyes as she holds her son for the first time. The pain of the contractions disappears, replaced by the purest happiness she has ever known. And there, in that magical moment, she knows that every second of pain was worth it. Miguel, the newborn baby long awaited by Mara and Alberto, finally arrives into the world, but something is wrong. As soon as the baby is delivered into the mother's arms, there is no crying, no movements, only an unsettling silence fills the delivery room. Doctors and nurses rush around in a frenzy, trying to revive the newborn, but their efforts seem in vain. Mara's heart clenches in despair as she watches the scene before her eyes. She can hardly believe what is happening. All her dreams and hopes seem to crumble before her as the baby lies still, lifeless. Tears roll down Mara's face as she prays, begging for a miracle, for a sign of life. Her husband Alberto is beside her, holding her hand tightly, sharing her anguish and helplessness. Dr. Perez, with the baby in the incubator, tells the nurses that something is wrong. His serious and worried expression reveals the gravity of the situation as he approaches Mara and Alberto. Mara's heart races, a sense of fear washes over her as she stares at the doctor, waiting for news. The silence in the delivery room is deafening as everyone waits for the doctor's word. Dr. Perez takes a deep breath before speaking, his eyes meet Mara's, conveying compassion and concern. He explains that the baby was born prematurely and that there are complications with his breathing. His heart is strong, but his lungs feel very weak. Mara's heart sinks in her chest, a feeling of despair washes over her. As the doctor continues to explain the details of the situation, Mara struggles to process the words. She feels the world spinning around her, a fog of uncertainty enveloping her. Her husband places a comforting hand on her shoulder, but she barely notices, so consumed is she with anxiety and fear. Dr. Perez explains the plan of action, the steps that need to be followed to give the baby the best chance of survival. Placing a gentle hand on Mara's shoulder, Dr. Perez says, "I understand your concern, Mara. But we are here to help you every step of the way. The baby is in good hands in the NICU. The next step is to monitor for close the baby and start the necessary treatments to stabilize him. He will receive all the care and attention he needs." Mara listens intently, trying to hold on to the hope that everything will work out. She knows it will be a difficult journey, full of challenges and uncertainties, but she is determined to do everything necessary for her son. As the baby is taken to the neonatal intensive care unit, Mara feels a lump form in her throat. She clings tightly to her husband Alberto's hand, finding comfort in his presence. Mara and her husband watch with heavy hearts as doctors carefully transfer their son to another small incubator. The baby looks so fragile and vulnerable there, surrounded by tubes and monitors that don't stop flashing and beeping. Mara holds her husband's hand tightly, seeking mutual comfort as they watch the medical team work with determination. Her baby, so small and defenseless, is now fighting for his life in a world full of uncertainty and challenges. Mara's heart is heavy with worry, but she refuses to give up hope. As the minutes drag by, doctors continue their tireless efforts to stabilize the baby. Every second seems like an eternity, and Mara and Alberto's anguish only increases as time passes. She silently prays for a miracle, begging God to spare her precious son's life. The doctor, with his skillful and precise hands, desperately tries to revive the baby that is there, so fragile and defenseless. The emergency room is a frenzy of activity, lights flash, alarms echo, but all the doctor can hear is the deafening sound of his own silent desperation. The minutes seem to stretch into hours as he continues to fight, refusing to accept the idea that it might be too late. His colleagues around him are tense, their gazes expressing the same anguish that consumes his own heart. The doctor's hands are covered in sweat, but he can't allow that to distract him. He is focused only on the task before him, on the mission to bring back the life that seems to slip away so quickly. Each compression twists his very soul, but he persists, refusing to give up that little life that fights to remain. The tension in the air is palpable, almost suffocating. As the doctor fights a lonely battle, his thoughts are focused only on that small being before him, on the promise of a future that has not yet been written. He knows that time is his enemy and that every second lost is precious, but he cannot allow himself to give in to despair. But it seems like everything is in vain. No matter how hard they try, the newborn, Miguel, doesn't seem to respond. Mara's world collapses around her when the doctor says that her son didn't survive and died. She feels as if her heart has been ripped out of her chest, and a wave of despair washes over her, threatening to suffocate her. It can't be. Miguel. My baby. Is he gone? Gaimsore, Mara. We did everything we could, but his lungs simply didn't respond and his heart was overwhelmed. But I can't accept this. He was so small, so fragile. How could this have happened? As sometimes, even with all our knowledge and technology, fate seems too cruel. I wish I could change that, Mara. I wish. Mara, interrupting the doctor, asks, Did you really do everything you could? I don't know how I'm going to move forward without him. He was all I had, everything I dreamed of. How am I going to live without he? Placing his hand on Mara's shoulder, Dr. Perez says, You're not alone, Mara. You have people around you who care a lot about you, who are here to help, to support you. Don't hesitate to seek comfort when you need it, eh? The pain will be there, Mara. There's no avoiding it. But over time, it will become more bearable. Tears stream down Mara's face as she struggles to assimilate the terrible news. Her baby, the one she waited for with so much love and affection, is now taken from her before she even has the chance to meet him. The shock and pain are overwhelming, consuming Mara completely. Her husband Alberto hugs her, sharing his anguish and pain. The two cry a lot and lean on each other, seeking comfort in each other's presence, in the face of this tragedy that they never thought would happen. They are inconsolable, unable to believe what is happening. Mara and Alberto unfortunately prepare to say goodbye to their newborn baby, who could barely have the happiness of spending time with him. At the funeral, as everyone present gathers around the coffin, a heavy silence hangs over the place. Their eyes are downcast, their faces are bathed in tears, and their hearts are heavy with the pain of loss. Mara raises her eyes to the sky, seeking some answer. She asks, Why, my God, why? However, something extraordinary happens. The sky suddenly darkens as heavy clouds gather, announcing the storm's imminent arrival. Thunder rumbles on the horizon, as if the sky itself were crying along with Mara. Between the muffled sobs and the whispers of farewell, an unexpected sound cuts through the air, a soft cry, as delicate as the whisper of a breeze. A sound so soft that it could almost be mistaken for the wind, but which awakens a timid hope in the hearts of everyone present. Everyone looks at each other, confused and surprised, and asks each other, Where is that sound coming from? The crying seems to come from inside the coffin, as if the little being inside was crying out for help, for attention, for love, for life. Those present exchange perplexed looks, unable to understand what is happening. Some dare to whisper that it is just the echo of the family member's sadness, others insist that it is the wind playing with their minds, which are already so fragile by the pain of loss. But as the crying persists, it becomes impossible to ignore. Mara, the mother, recognizes the sound as the cry of her little newborn baby. Father Alberto raises his eyebrows in shock. And then, with a mixture of hesitation and hope, Mara despairs and screams for someone to open the coffin as soon as possible. With trembling hands, the gravedigger carefully opens the coffin, revealing a scene that defies belief. Everyone's hearts seem to stop for a moment as the coffin lid is slowly lifted. And there, amidst the flowers and mourning ribbons, lies a scene that defies all logic and understanding. Newborn Miguel, wrapped in white blankets, has his eyes closed and cries tirelessly, lying at the bottom of the coffin. He is alive. A ray of light appears amid the darkness of sadness that envelopes the cemetery. Oh my God, he's alive. Miguel, my son, is alive, says Mara. Alberto, eyes wide and amazed, says, It can't be. Quick, take him carefully. Let's get him out of this coffin. The incredulous gravedigger says, "I've never seen anything like this. This is a true miracle." Mara, hugging her baby tenderly, starts talking to Miguel. "My sweet Miguel, you gave us the greatest gift today, having you back in our arms." The uproar turns to surprise and admiration. How could Miguel, a newborn baby, be presumed dead and then revive after a few hours? How could the doctors be wrong with the baby's diagnosis? What happened to make him breathe again? Mara and Alberto, unable to believe the miracle that happened, fall to their knees next to the coffin, shocked by what they see. Tears of shock and joy stream down their faces. The rest of those present approach cautiously, marveling at the true miracle they are witnessing. As the baby is carefully lifted from the coffin and wrapped in its mother's arms, Mara reaches out a trembling hand to caress the baby's soft cheeks, feeling an instant connection with him. Baby Miguel's cry is seen as a true miracle, showing that even in the darkest moments, the light of hope can shine. As paramedics rush to care for the baby, Mara remains at her side, her eyes fixed on the newborn's angelic face. She knows this is a moment she will never forget, a ray of light amid the darkness of her loss. The funeral turned into a celebration of life and the miracle that had just occurred. Miguel, a small being, defied death and will bring with him a story of love, courage and resilience that will inspire all those who cross his path. Hey Alberto, I can't believe what's happening. How can our baby be alive after hours without any signs of life? It's as if we were experiencing a miracle, Mara. I never imagined something like this could happen. The doctors must be as perplexed as we are. How could they make such a mistake in the diagnosis? I can only be grateful for this moment. Miguel is a true warrior. I will never forget this day. It's as if we were blessed with a second chance. The funeral that was supposed to be a goodbye turned into a celebration of life. Miguel brought light to our lives again, says Mara. Scientists and experts are committed to unraveling the mystery behind the extraordinary event. Samples are collected, tests are performed, theories are discussed and refuted. But even with all the technology and human knowledge at our disposal, no one can provide a plausible explanation for what really happened that day. Most of the people in the cemetery came to one and the same conclusion, that it was a true miracle. And even if it is never fully explained, the miracle of life remains a powerful reminder of the extraordinary that can happen when we least expect it. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and tell me in the comments if you've heard of cases like Miguel's. Thank you for being there and see you in the next video.